in my life made biscuits the way I'm going to make them, but they're called cream biscuits. Now, I know I make cream biscuits, but this is a different way of making cream biscuits. You're going to need parchment paper. You need an 8-inch cake pan. That's, hey, I told you it's going to be different. Now, what you're going to do is, because we have to get the parchment paper into this pan, you put it on the parchment paper, right side, and you take a pencil and you go all the way around the edge. Hence, you have the marking here. Then what you're going to do is cut it out. Right. Already have them out. Okay. Is it something? Little girls, mommy gets us things that we can cut out. So we learn to work with scissors, which is a skill we need. And you just cut it out. Now your parchment paper is curling. Roll it in the opposite direction to get it somewhat to lay down so you can do what you have to do. I don't think you've ever been thrown out of the kitchen when you were learning. Oh yeah, my mother threw me out of the kitchen. Good morning, Gary, Judy. Okay. So I don't know how these are going to come out, but we're going to try a different way of making biscuits, believe it or not. Put it curl side down so it will lay in your pan like so. All right, now you're going to adjust your oven rack. You want it on, now listen very carefully, because if you don't do this right, it's not going to be done right. I hope they wrote it right, because I know what most people mean when they write it. Adjust your oven rack, the rack is the shelf, to the upper middle portion of the oven. They're not saying the upper third of the oven. What they're talking about is the upper middle portion. See, you have three parts of your oven. You have the upper, you have the middle, and then you have the lower. And you usually have two shelves in each section. So just take it from that where you have it normally in the middle. Just move it up one, and that puts you in the upper middle position. You see, you've got to be very careful with your wording and stuff if they don't do it right. And I hope they worded this right, or we're going to mess up big time. And set your oven at 425 degrees. Have any of you ever made any of these dishes? You know, I've given over almost 3,000. I think I'm over 3,000 recipes. I mean, have any of you tried any of these recipes? Okay. All right, now, listen, when I tell you what we're going to do, you're not going to believe me, okay? Okay, you need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, one thing I am adding, the recipe doesn't say, is something else right now. We're going to add large flake nutritional yeast. This comes from Bob's Red Mill. They have a lot of good things there, so I use them for a lot of things. And this is what I'm getting. And we're going to add this for the B vitamins that we need. And I'm only adding 1 tablespoon, no more. Now that should not affect the lightness of these biscuits. Okay. All right, they want 2 teaspoons of sugar in here. I've never made biscuits with sugar. I told you, this is so different from anything I've made. I figured it'd go well with what I'm serving today. I could add seasonings, but I want to sit there and try this like this first, plain. Well, the thyme is going to be in the other one, so it should be all right. Okay, we need a half a teaspoon of salt. Has anybody ever noticed that chefs still sit there and use a lot of whole grains? You're fat? Good morning. Nick, good morning. Drench, good morning. What we're cooking right now is cream biscuits. I've never done this recipe, and it's very, very unusual. All right, but for the baking powder, they want 2 teaspoons. Half a teaspoon. Here's the tea. Okay. They did not tell us to handle this or anything. They said they want us to whisk this. Nick, if that's what you want, though, all. I don't go to McDonald's because I know a lot of stuff that I won't. All right. All right. We don't need the whisk anymore either. We don't need this anymore. We don't need measuring spoons anymore. Don't need my scissors anymore. All right. What they want us to do next is 1 1/4. Okay. Now you're going to need a wooden spoon for this. And they're stressing a wooden spoon. All right. Good morning, Nick. The wall. Pretty Cat, how are you? No, we're making biscuits with some fish today. And this is a new recipe I haven't used. All right, now you are going to add into this mixture 1 1/4 cups. Listen to me carefully. 1 1/4 cups of heavy cream. You're saying, say what? Yeah, I told you it's a new recipe. I've never made it. Okay. Oop, getting close. You only want to add 1 1/4 cups. Okay, we got to get lower still. Okay. Let me see where I'm at. No, we still have to go lower. Okay. I don't need this either. I thought I did. All right, they want us to stir this. Now, you know I usually use everything else, but I told you this is a new recipe. The only thing I did was add the nutritional yeast. I only added that in. No. Okay. That's what they want. I told you this is new. I have never done this. If I run back and forth on this cookbook, you'll know. All right. They want you to flour an area. Okay. We're going to use measuring spoons again. Okay. Okay, you have floury bits here. They want you to add heavy cream and work it off of the bowl. As you can see, they want you to work that off. So add a tablespoon and stir it around. What are you going to do if I get the rest of it off? You'll have to add more? What do you want me to do with the rest of the couple of tablespoons I have left? They want you to get as much of it as you can out of your thing. They said to use the rest of this heavy cream and scrape it all out. Mix it up and scrape it out. Well, sorry, it's going to come out with a spoon, and that's it. I'm not going to get any more out. Smooth, 30 seconds. All right. They want us to knead this like 30 seconds. They don't want us to knead this too much. You guys aren't going to come up that way. I'll come up this way. My son said there's a place in the city that people come in and cook. I don't know the place he's talking about. He said, yeah. He says, I've listened to him, Mommy. Some of those people in there do not know what they're talking about. I said, I know. They take a lot of shortcuts and they don't do things properly. All right. That's as much kneading as they want done. Now what do you want me to do with this? Now they want you to pat this into an 8-inch circle, which I'm getting ready to do. You want to get a perfect circle, use one hand while you're pressing to keep the roundness going, you see? Once you build a wall, it will sit there and follow that wall. So use a hand as a wall and you'll get it. Okay. Just like that. And now what do you want me to do with this? If you're going to cut them out into round biscuits, they want you to use a 2.5 inch. Hi, Katie, George, Bonnie, Attell. We're making biscuits. All right. Now, if you are cutting them out with a 2.5 inch biscuit cutter, you still have to put them on parchment paper. All right. But if you're making them whole like this, we have to cut this into 8 wedges. Yeah, well, it's not straight. That's all right. I know. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. I know it's not straight. Don't say anything. Haven't been up long enough for anybody to condemn me for not having a straight one. So this is actually opposite of everything that I've ever learned about making biscuits, but it's different. If your knife is sticking, just dip it into some flour. That'll take care of it. Now, do you want to brush or anything before I go any further? All right. We're going to put them in the oven, they say, for 15 minutes. And we'll see how they come out. I know, that is the weirdest way I've ever made biscuits. Now you can add 2 tablespoons of fresh herb of your choice, if you wish. But I wanted to try this like this plain, and then I'll adjust accordingly. But I think if you take a look and you follow chefs, you'll notice in all of it they use all-purpose flour, bread flour, but they're not, they'll use semolina sometimes, but they do not use bulgur or whole grains in their stews or anything that they make. So they're not helping with the nutrition of the country. They're just dragging us further down a path of unhealth. That's why I learned to cook this way, because I wanted my health. Okay. Hi, Pack, Goldie. This kind of yeast, this isn't yeast that you use for bread. This is called a large flake nutritional yeast. I know you can get this at a health food store. If you have a health food store, if you have a store that has a health food aisle, go and check it out. If you can't, you can order it from Amazon. So you have 3 places. ShopRite, where I shop, has one aisle that is health food. This is where I can pick this up. Health food stores will carry this as well. If you don't have a health food store in your area, by all means, you can order it on Amazon, I'm sure. I've ordered a lot of things on Amazon. Am I getting dirty art? Dang. I can't stay clean. That's it. I'm always gonna, well, I'm gonna use you to clean myself up some. There. There, that looks better. Okay. While those are cooking for 15 minutes, it'll be about 10 after. All right. Cream biscuits. Yeah, well, it's marked. All right. This is not what I want to make. Where am I going? Okay. All right, I have cod here. Hold on. One, two, yeah, I told him. Yeah, they're not an inch thick. Don't mess me up again. This is what I hate. Dang, it's not what I wanted. I told him what I wanted, and he did not give me what I wanted, so I'm not happy about this. Okay. Number one, it has to be 1 inch thick. Really? Really? Told him what I wanted. He wasn't listening. I needed 3 6-ounce, 1 inch thick cod. What I got was everything else. So I'm going to have some problems doing this dish. And I'll tell you the dish that I'm making. Oh, let's put you up here for now, because I'm going to have to cut these. They're not going to work. See, when you shop at stores, when you shop at one store, you cannot always find what you want. I'm trying to find a fish store. There's one fish store that I don't go to because he made sexual connotations about me after my husband had died, and told my son to get me a guy to basically fuck me. He said, because that's what I need. I said, and when my son told me, I never went back to that store. I wouldn't give him my business. Finding another fish store is almost next skin to impossible. So I have to use the store. Now this is supposed to be 1 inch thick, which it's not. Yes, I am. Hi, Otto, Ottel, Michelle. Yeah. Yeah. He's married. So I said some things that weren't very appropriate. Not at the store, because he had told my older son to do that. And my older son said, he said, Mommy, I got to tell you something, what he said. The fire that was lit under me, I could not see straight. For a whole week, I was so mad that somebody thought that of me. Hi, Tom. Michelle. Yeah, it is horrible. And he's an old crow. And on top of that, he's Korean. And he thought that my husband and him were tight because, Korea fought with Americans and stuff. It was just very rude. Yeah, you can't hate. Okay, I know I'm not going to use the right knife. I'm going to use this one, okay? So if you can find the cod the right size, this should work very well, but I don't have that size, so this is not going to work well. I might overcook these trying to get it to work for what I want. So I have to find stores that I can deal with. And I can't seem to find a fish store that I like. This is why you should have a fish store. You should have a butcher, so when you go to the store, if they don't have what you want, you can always go to your other store and say, well, I know I can get it here. See? This is why I do it sometimes. I have different stores, and some meats I literally get through the mail. That's the wild game. But I can get duck and rabbit from my butcher, but you can't get it in the store. Yeah. And his wife was very young. I mean, it was no different than that relative. I hate to talk about this relative. Thank God he's gone. But his favorite thing was to have mail order brides. I met this man. He told my mother, give me a year with her. I'll have her broken in. I looked at him. I just went, I don't think I like this guy. He had already buried 3 wives. He worked them to death. The kitchen did not have a stove. It had a fireplace. And it had a wooden table. I swear to God, I had stepped back to 1700s, okay? This is how bad it was in that kitchen. And she didn't have any jewelry on or anything else. And he did a mail order from Italy because he's Italian. And he worked these women so hard, they didn't even survive 5 or 10 years. She was 22, and she looked like she was 50. And I said, you're married? She said, mail order. I knew exactly what she told me. She was a mail order bride. And he had the old radio. He didn't have television. And he would sit down, and he laughed as he broke women. He thought it was the biggest thing to break them into slavery, and I never went back to see him. He was one relative in my family I did not want to know. You know, that's how I looked at it. All right, because I don't have what I want, and I'm going to have to substitute for this. See, they wanted 6 ounces skinless cod fillets, about 1 inch thick. That is not what I got here. As you can see, it is not. Ooh, and I didn't, just the thought of him looking at me, you know, was really, it was like I was a piece of property. He broke them. He got her up at, before the sun rose. She didn't have an oven or a stove, but she had to cook. She had a table and a fireplace, and she had to make it work. On top of that, he put her into the garden. He also had her help bring down trees and stuff and everything else. He worked her to the ground, is literally what she as a 22-year-old, you know how young men think of how young, or women think of when you were 22 and how young and healthy you were. He worked her so bad that she looked 55 and she had only been there a month. He worked her to death is what it does mean to break women. He likes to work them to death. In other words, you're going to do what I do, the labor that I do. And she didn't have a car to drive. She had to walk miles to go get groceries and then carry them back, whatever they had. And this was him. And at night, she had to sew everything by hand. And she didn't have a rocking chair. She just had a regular stool that she would sit and have to sew. And he would listen to the news on the radio, and she would go to bed, and he would get her up. If she didn't get up, he would hit her. And he hit her if she didn't do the garden right. He hit her if she didn't help bring down the trees or go and get the food. If she complained, she was beaten. If she was sick, everything. It was constantly, she was a slave. Just think of a slave, and that's what she was. And that was his 5th wife. And he laughed about it. He thought it was great. When she came to him, her head was down like this, and she'd bring him coffee. I mean, she wouldn't even look at him. But my mother said, why don't you go in and help her serve coffee, you know? So, you know, I said, okay. So I went into her kitchen, and all what I saw was You have to go to back to 17th century to picture the table. And he had a bench that he had on both sides of the table, and there was a fireplace. And that was it. Anything that she had to do all the canning and preserving of meats and stuff when he brought it in and stuff like that. It's just that he worked her. That's what it means. He killed her. He worked her to death. No children. He didn't want children, but he worked her. She was bones and old, and she was only 22. So in the 60s, they still had mail order brides coming through this country. So don't think that it was like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And when I looked at her, when we left, my mother said, she'll be dead within 5 years and he'll get another one. This is what he's been doing his whole life, Sandy. And I said, well, I don't want a husband like that. I wouldn't be an obedient wife. I would be quite nasty and angry and a whole lot of other things. No, not 1930s. I'm talking 1968, 69, and 70. We're talking less than 50 years ago. And this was up in Connecticut. A relative of mine. No, she was Italian. He was Italian because I'm Italian. And he was a relative of mine. And this is what he did with women. He's dead now, I hope. He was old then, you know, an old crow. I mean, she must have been beautiful when she came, but she was not when I saw her. She just took her hair and she braided it down and she twisted around and put some sticks in it, combs in it, and that was it. You'd swear to God you'd step back 200 years in her kitchen. She had to sit there, and if there were rugs, she had to sit there and get rags, braid them, sew them together. I don't know how to do that. She was real good at it, and those are the rugs that she made. He didn't waste anything, but he did waste his wives. I mean, he killed them, as far as I'm concerned, but that's my personal point. Okay, salt and pepper, yeah, I can do that. But I remember him laughing about it and saying, give me your daughter, I'll have her broken in 1 year. I could see myself. I look 16. In 1 year, I probably look like I'm 80. You know, this went on in my head. I did not like him. He thought it was funny. And he told her one time, be grateful I brought you here. You know, and I'm saying, she would be better off in her own country. And he made sure she never learned English. He was real careful that she never learned English. She only spoke Italian. Because see, if she spoke English, she would learn. She couldn't talk to anybody. She had no friends. She couldn't write back home. So she was totally isolated, and he was the only person. And she couldn't say anything unless he gave her permission. But she did I did ask her. She asked me how old I was. I said, I'm 16. And, or 17. I think I was what? I don't know. Let's see. I have to go back in time. Hold on. 14, 15. Yeah, I was 16. I asked her how old she was, and she said 22. My mouth dropped. Yeah, Gary, they are. Hi, Cubs. We don't know yet. We're waiting for them. I have 1 more minute. You must have been clocking them for me. Thank you. Oh, yes, I like this apron, too. I found them on Amazon. We'll find out in a minute. But I thought it was mean. When I pointed and said 16, she seemed to understand the number 16, so she told me 22. She didn't even have tablecloths, nothing. Here they are, the buttered biscuits, done differently. They smell good, you know. Oh, let me finish this. He didn't even have running water in the house. She had to go to the well and get it. I told you it was like going back 200 years in that house. But he thought it was funny. He really thought it. He was more, as far as I was concerned, he was morbid. You know, he would never get my approval. And you think I'm old-fashioned. Him, oh. We're going to salt and pepper the cod. Be careful, cod is already salted. You have to pat it dry first. Okay, now. Sprinkle on all sides salt and pepper. And then we're going to fry these up. Okay. Let's get this book over here again. So, he was one person I did not like. He was not my cup of tea. So as they say, baby, you have come a long way. Yeah, women have come a long way. If you get a man like that, he'll drag you back 200-300 years. But see, women didn't live long because they worked so hard. It was hard work. And then having children as well. Yeah, they do look interesting. But we have it easy. But I think if we push men too far, like a lot of women have done, we could find ourselves back in a situation that we wouldn't like. But women did a lot of hard work. Men are built for that kind of work. Women are not. You think about it. If we had to sit there and control the garden and everything else, sew everything by needle and thread, we also are having children, and everything that we cook, we have to grind up the grains and everything else. Salt and pepper these, they said. That's what we're doing. You could see that it takes the toll, and she'd have to haul the water and all. You could imagine women did not live long, and a lot of women died in childbirth because their body was just worn out. This is why men are built the way they are, to take that weight and do the heavier work so he can keep his wife around long enough, you know. But as far as I was concerned, he was murdering women. He laughed about it and thought it was funny. I know that just living is hard work. But I just consider that I have no words for it. Why am I thinking about him today? Well, he's gone. If he's alive, I'd be shocked. But I can imagine whatever karma went on with him. I would not want to be part of it. Okay. Yeah, remember that? Sharon. That's an old commercial. So, like I said, I disagreed with my mother with the way she likes this new woman's movement with Jane Fonda that has caused the problems of today. And I like this suffrage movement. It made me a human being. It didn't make me a workhorse. And that's what's happening to women today. They're working so hard. They have a house to care for, children, and everything else. They've added an extra layer of weight on their shoulders. So if you wonder why you're 40 or 30 or 50 and you're getting old quickly, you can take a look of all the stress that you put yourself under. If you understood the exact stress of pregnancy and what it does to the body, you'd be more considerate. If you have pain and labor and stuff, this is because you did not eat right and you're not healthy. Because I went through labor. I went through 2 labors, 3. One was a natural abortion. That hurt. And I have to say, a natural abortion really hurts because that's death, all right? The other pregnancies, there was no pain. At one point, I got up and stood up, and I was in almost transition. And I stood up, and I told the doctor to go to hell. I actually did tell him that. Yeah. I am not 50, I am 73, but I went through labor and I was eating in transition and my husband was screaming that I'm going to upchuck. The other one, I was arguing with a doctor and he said, you have to lay down. I said, I am fine, leave me alone. I know what I'm doing. I did everything opposite, but I made a prenatal diet that I stuck to make sure that I was as healthy as I could be. And I had enough milk that I was a fountain every time one breast was being nursed, the other one was just shooting milk out. Like my husband laughed at me. He said, Sandy, your breasts look like torpedoes. He died laughing. I said, oh, shut up, you know. So let's see what else I have to do with this. All right. Yeah, right. This is really going to work. All right, we need a no stick on this recipe. No, a lot of women wouldn't believe me. You ate during transition? Yeah, I had shrimp curry over rice. I had plantains. I had cheesecake for dessert. We had chutney next to it and ginger beer. Believe you me, I hate bringing something up once it goes down. Okay. What else do you want me to do with this? Butter. A tablespoon of oil. So see, if you're observant about people and family and stuff, you learn a lot. You listen to the elders, you'd learn a history. All right, and no stick, and they want a tablespoon of oil in it, and they want you to put 3 tablespoons of butter on the side. We're going to use it. And they want you to cut 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter into 1/2-inch cubes. All right, let's see. Well, I got 4 here. I got 2 here. Yeah, I'm adding them up. So see, I worry women are pushing and saying masculinity is bad and everything else and putting men down. We could end up with men like that relative of mine that I just got. Just cutting my butter up. Okay. Yeah, I am. Sharoom, I am single now. But we don't say single after you've lost your husband. We say widow. Okay. 1/2-inch pieces. Well, it's good. Yeah, well, this knife's gonna have to be sharpened now, Sandra. You slammed it down there. Well, that's the best I'm gonna do. It's not 1/2 inch, it's not perfect. My butter's frozen. All right. Now what do you want me to do? All right, we need some garlic. All right, you're gonna need 2 cloves of garlic crushed. I'm gonna do it on this pan. I'm behind you, and I'm gonna crush 2 garlic. As soon as I can get them separated, that is. Okay, there's one. Da-dun, dun, da-dun. Oh, shoot. Sandra, did you not get on here? No, I didn't. Just peeling the garlic right now. Manuel? Oh, they came out very nice. I want to try them with vanilla, white chocolate, and I want to try them also with butterscotch chips, just to be different. Just make sure you get a good coffee that you like. I just think it'd be good. I might even try putting heavy cream in. Listen, I've got ideas running. I get one recipe and then I go in a different direction. Oh, this one looks like it was ready to split. That's okay. Getting everything ready for what I have to do. We've got a tablespoon of oil in a no stick. We got 3 tablespoons of butter, and we got 2 garlics peeled because we're going to have to crush them soon. And we salt and peppered the cod. All right, heat the oils. Okay. Well, this is a no stick. You want me to go that high? I'm going to have to rub this down. This part's going to be very quick. What am I going to have with this? I have not decided yet. You have to get this pan hot. Make sure, because it is a no stick, that you sit there, and they do want that oil in the pan. We're making cod. Okay, Justin. Hi, Matthew. Yeah, I haven't had anything, just except a glass of water so far. Yeah, Pretty Cat's here, Justin. Okay, so we've got the cod ready. We've got the garlic ready to smash. Now, if you can find cod fillets, they want them an inch thick for this recipe. Like I told you, I don't have it, because I told them what I wanted and I did not get what I wanted, which I'm not happy about. Let's just say that. Oh, this is so little cod. We'll just put it on this plate and just leave it like this. You're gonna need thyme as well, all right? So be aware of that. So get some thyme. Now they say fresh thyme, but I don't have fresh thyme, so I'm going to use dry thyme. We're actually going to be searing these just like we do steaks. That's actually the whole setup that we're going to do. That's why you saw me pat the cod, because it is a very wet one, wet fish. Courthouse, good morning. We're having cod and we made biscuits. Cream biscuits, believe you me, it's a whole different recipe. But they look like they're going to be good. I feel like I want to try one. See how they came out. Let's see. Let's see how this biscuit is. You could say they'll be fattening, that's for sure. With that much heavy cream in them. Here's the texture. Not hot enough yet. They are unusual. I'm not gonna lie to you. They're light though, very, very light. Lighter than regular biscuits. Good morning, Irma. David, good morning. So we're having cod today. They want it seared and they want this pan smoking hot. You know I don't like smoking oil. So these came out better than I thought. They have more of a creamy taste. They're not quite biscuits, but they're not quite scones, and they're so the flavor is different. Just letting you know. Okay, here goes. Can you get these last two pieces in, which is going to be a bit of a problem. See if I can use this again. Got to get all the pieces in here for what I have to do. So if you can find the cod the right size, by all means. That'll be good. By the way, those biscuits really have a unique taste. YouTube recommends my channel. Well, that's very nice. I went to set up the shopping on YouTube, and there's a problem. The things I use, I don't see there. So it's evident I get quality that is not sold there. So I'm going to put things in my, I'm going to set it up. I have to decide. They have one thing that I have to get through, and I don't understand what it is. I'll have to read it up. And I'm going to put it there, things that I use, that I am strongly about, like the shampoo. They say you have to change your shampoo every, couple of years. I've been using the same shampoo since I was 20, and I'm 73, so I've been using it for 53 years, and it hasn't hurt my hair. But I don't buy the shampoos that you buy in the stores either. I have to order mine. Like the oil, you can't find the oils that I put on my skin unless you order it from a specific company, you see. This is how it is. Now these are thin, so mine are cooking a little faster than I want them to. Okay. Crush your garlic. Throw it in. And now you know what we're going to do. And this is all high heat we're using right now. You know how you sear a steak and you pour the butter over it? I'm going to put some thyme in here because I want to carry this thyme flavor through with it. It does smell good in spite of having not what I want. So we're doing it just like we're doing the steaks. As you can see, it does look good. I'm just upset I could not get what I was looking for. This is why you're using a high heat. So we can treat fish now the same way. Just make sure you put the skin side where they took the skin off. Use that as your first base. And you're going to use high heat. So this is going to have a garlicky thyme flavor to it. Yeah. Now this I have to pack lunches with. That's what I'm talking about. I have to pack these lunches. So that's why I do this, so they will have something. But I bet you this would be good for breakfast. It smells just that good, but a lot of people can't handle seasoning for breakfast. Oh, that's good. I didn't think it was going to be that good. That's really good. Yeah. I know it's going to fall apart on me as I try to get it. That's why they want the cod an inch thick, but I couldn't get it. This would be good with eggs and biscuits for breakfast. Get your family going. Doesn't that look good? I could eat this for breakfast. I really could. What vegetable I'm going to serve? I have no idea. Haven't even gotten to that part yet. I know one thing. Oh, recipes? I have a Facebook cooking page that's like this. It does look, and I tell you, I think people could eat this for breakfast with biscuits, with coffee, and you'd be quite happy. Thank you for the sunshine. Yay! Okay. I have, on Facebook, I have a cooking page called by the same name, America's Home Cooking. I think it has a fish background in the back of it. I don't go on it often, but if you wish to share recipes, that's it. I sit there and I tell you all the ingredients when I cook, so you know what I'm making. Thank you for the heart as well, Misty. I didn't catch the guy who sent me the sunshine. Of course, you just made it. Okay, so I'm going to be making some coffee. Maybe just simple carrots, salad, I don't know. But that could be made for breakfast with biscuits, and it would be delicious. It's so unusual, but it get your family up. And they say fish for breakfast. Oh, listen, you can make fish sandwiches, but this is just good like this. And if you want to have it with eggs, I would say go ahead. I'm going to make my coffee now. So while I think of what vegetable I want to serve for this. I don't want to serve cabbage with it. I have some carrots. And what else do I have? I have cauliflower. But the meal would be so pale if I use the cauliflower, I think. Maybe not, because the seasoning's really brown. I'm going to buy more cod. I have to make that again. When they have nice thick pieces of cod. Yeah. No, you're looking for fun. No. I'm not going to help in that area. You have to know what you love to do. I love crafting. I love cooking. I love plants. Oh, God, do I love plants. They don't love me because I kill them all the time. I love, for me, I love walking in a park. walking in the woods, holding hands, simple things like that. I'm not an elaborate person that goes extreme. For me, going to the Bronx Zoo is like heaven. I would enjoy that. But my biggest goal in life is to go to the Creation Museum. I really would love to go there. Yeah, I go in different directions, David. I'm one of those people that will try different things, but I'm a simple person and I get great pleasure at creating things. When I'm working on that bedspread, it's going to take me forever. I designed the rose pattern up and I'm making it right now in thistle color. My husband and I like going to the beach and watch the sunrise. These are things that I find fun. Even picnics, not sitting at a table picnic, but throwing a blanket and eating sitting on the ground and eating, I enjoy. So little things like that make me happy. You have to find out if you're a person that likes a lot of activity and stuff, you would find all of that very, very boring. So you have to think what you like. Because I know what I like is so out of fashion now with women. They probably say that is a bunch of crock, you know. So, yeah, I would love to go walking in the woods with dogs and my husband and stuff, but he's gone and we lost the dogs, you know. We had kennels. So, that's what I like. Walking on the beach or sitting at the beach and watching the sunrise is another beautiful thing. Sitting outside on a back porch watching the sunset is something I like too. I guess it's contemplating life and stuff. I don't like dancing. I don't like loud places, blaring music, or too many people. I'm more of a quiet group of people, you could say. But I've been like that all my life. I'm not trying to be the best of anything or being the top of anything. Like I said, I fell into modeling. I wasn't looking to be a model. I was minding my own business doing schoolwork, and that's how I walked up into it. Yeah. Shine, yeah. Modeling is what I did. I was an artist model. So when you see those portraits and stuff of women, that's what I did. I can't show the work. No, there's no way. I'm not a runway model. I'm an artist model. Paintings are done of me. So that's what I like for the young person who asked me. I don't think my lifestyle would be something that you'd be happy with. Sometimes I'd sit on the back porch and eat, you know, I would have my dinner on the back porch is something that I like to do quietly. I watch people run. They're always so busy doing something. I wonder if they have time to smell the roses. You know, that was an old saying. Take time. let me go get my coffee cup and saucer. I do like these biscuits, though. It's different, I could say that much. And they're very, very flaky. They're moist. Oh, God. They're really good. Cream gave them that heavy cream gave them an excellent texture. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, well, that was his mate. You know, he's alone now. Yeah, Misty, different biscuits. I never made these before. Yeah, I can learn to stand still. I told my husband when he wanted me to pose, this was before we were married, I told him 1 hour and I have to move. So he did. He'd put albums on. Yeah, I'm talking old school now. That really tastes good. You could have this for breakfast. You can really have it for breakfast. So I could stand still for long times. I even know the first pose I got into. It was this one. And you learn to, as you're standing there as a model, you learn to withdraw inside of yourself. You become like not even there. You might not want to put butter on these biscuits. It's got 1.5 cups of heavy cream in them. Yeah, you zone out if that's what you call it. We called it we just went within ourselves. So when he went to do my eyes, he'd go, Sandy, you know, and I'd have to look at him. Yes, Rod, I believe very much in my father. Am I going to go to hell? Yeah. He used to play the big band. He'd play blues or jazz. When he painted, but he had to put on 1 hour. One time he was so into the painting, I stepped away because it was long after an hour. And I went to the kitchen to go eat. Came out and I was eating a sandwich. And he finally looked up from the painting. He said, why aren't you? I said, it's over an hour and I'm hungry, you know. Okay, I just have to wait for my coffee, but I'm going to eat these biscuits. They're really, really good. They're very light. Be careful if you make them into wedges, cut them, and be very careful how you get them out. Now, you're talking about dogs. We had kennels. We had an Irish Wolfhound, an Irish Setter, and a Weimaraner. Those were the dogs. We had all 3 of them. And my cat, Angel. What is all this here? Must have come out of here. Okay. They are delicious. That's what surprised me. I've already had a few. Yeah, I'll continue eating. I have to be careful. What are you talking about? Rudolph, God rest inside of you. I was going to church. I was faithful. I was in the choir. I went to Sunday school and everything else. And then the people who pay the most money into the church pretty much control the preacher. And he decided he was going to tell the truth about infidelity and stuff like that. The people got angry with him, and they got rid of him. And it became, I became aware of the political, that the church was not a house of worship. It had become a political place in the churches. And I got very angry. And my parents were in a divorce. My father was blaming me for that divorce if I wasn't born. And my mother was putting a lot of weight on me. She said, I'm going to leave with my new husband, the new man I'm going to marry, and you can take over my job raising my younger brother, and you'll be the woman of the house. So we're going to switch. She took my boyfriend. And you take my place, Sandy, and I'm going to take yours. But I wasn't tolerating that at all. No, that's against everything. So I walked away from the church. I didn't walk away from God. I walked away from the church. Did I see all that coming? Yeah. But you don't think a mother would ever betray a daughter's trust. But they're capable of it. Very capable of it. My mother made her bed, and she had to live with it. But she blames everybody else for it. Like my father. They each blame everybody else. I don't. I take my responsibilities. What I've done. Yeah. Yeah, she did. We were fighting over my boyfriend. She's a married woman. She's had 5 children. She lost 2 of them naturally, and I never spoke with her again. I won that battle, but I was not happy with what she did. So I am very, very careful. So I don't want to be somebody who breaks families up. If they break up on their own, that's one thing. I was raised, God meets me inside of here. But see, because I am psychic, I know more than most people. I just don't walk blindly through life. I have a deeper understanding of things. My life has been like an up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. I don't want it up and down, up and down, up and down anymore. I want a quiet life. And I am very quiet. I don't go out a lot. I have very few friends that I do talk with. A lot of people that come after me, I put them straight because I don't want it. And now I find out the ministers who preach the word of God don't even believe it. But don't preach to me if you don't believe. When I talk about God, I am talking from my heart. I believe very much in my Father. I have felt and have heard his voice. I have felt his love that has brought me to tears. That's why Father Hill said what he said. He said, I'm not getting between her and God. We're getting her confirmed. I was taught in the church to tell the truth. So I told the truth. I told the truth. I didn't care if you wanted to hear it or not. The truth was the truth. God speaks truth, therefore we have to speak the truth. Well, I spoke the truth. Well, my mother had finally had it with me telling the truth. She took dish soap, regular soap. After she beat me, and I can say she beat me, I had welts from that whipping. And she taped my mouth closed, and I was sitting on the back porch. She said, "You contemplate when you open your mouth." And now what I'm going in my head, and I'm crying, I'm upset. I can't understand what I did wrong. I told the truth. They tell me to tell the truth, so I tell the truth. Then I get whipped for telling the truth. So if I don't tell the truth and I tell a lie, I get whipped with it. I could not win. Okay? Yeah, the coffee is good. It has an earthy taste to it, whereas coffee beans don't have that earthy taste, but I enjoy it. It's chicory root, which I drink. So these were, I was in great conflict, but I was glad that I could talk with my husband and tell him the truth. No matter what, I could tell him the truth. And he went to school to help me, with the gifts that I have. So he had to go to school to learn how to keep up with me. Yeah, when they wanted the truth, I told them the truth. If it was small truth, but when you told big truths, I got the tar beat out of me, so I figured I'd start lying. Well, lying got me in more trouble. So I was going to be hit, damned if I do and damned if I don't. So I just said, I'm just going to tell the truth if you like it or not. As I've gotten older, my words I can tell you the truth, but I'm a little softer on it. But I always believe, and this is a personal belief, I'm not asking you to believe this, all right? I believe if you're going for a reading from somebody, if they tell you all the things you want to hear, they're not giving you a reading. Because God isn't going to tell you all the good things you're going to do. You know what he's going to tell you? Every bloody thing you have to correct. So you get slammed against the wall. It said, no, you are not good. This is what you've done. Did. Another thing, if you go for a reading with a psychic, you walk in and the only thing you say is nothing. Don't give them any information, because when you come in, they say, hello, how are you, and stuff. So they're starting to feed off of you. So when they go to the cards, they're going to give you back all your words. They'll say something and you go, oh yeah, that's true. Then they'll lay out this elaborate story for you. If you want to know if somebody's a real psychic, you tell them zit when you go in. And you sit down and let them do whatever they have to do. Don't say one word. Don't show any emotion or anything else. Pay them when they're done. Leave. And then think about, did they or did they not tell you the truth? Are they pulling your leg or not? So you got to be careful. It wasn't abuse when we got whipped. Sometimes I did have welts because I frightened the tar out of my mother. So you have to be aware of that children, when we're young, we don't think what we're doing is wrong. We think we're safe. We could end up getting hurt. That's why your parents will beat you. I can say, or you want to say whipping, they will whip you quite severely because you scared the hell out of them. And my brother did that to my mother, and I have done that to my mother. My younger brother drove my mother insane because he liked to light telephone poles up. So our telephone poles had the telephone as well as electricity and stuff. So we called them all telephone poles. We didn't have utility poles and then telephone poles. Everything was a telephone pole where I grew up. Yeah, because it wasn't real, Shine. Good morning, Petty. Musso, good morning. People don't want to hear the truth. It's difficult. That's why I said, I saw the Twin Towers come down. The only person I told was my husband, and it was bad. And when the towers went down and the souls that had died were looking for somebody open, and they can see it on the other world, who's opened or not. I told my husband, you have to sleep on top of me, Tony. I am terrified. I can't close my eyes because they're coming at me. So he slept over me, literally on top of me, just so I could get some rest. He was like a protective shield to hide me so they couldn't see, so I could get some rest. Good morning, General Jeannie. I should say just Jean. Yeah, I got it. My mother was this way. Remember, my father never whipped us. It was my mother. She, like I said, I think she'd punch a cop if he gave her a ticket. This is my mother. She was a tyrant. She sat there, and when she caught us doing something or arguing, she would whip us. If we didn't eat, we were going to be whipped. So she had us pretty rigid. Well, I can't believe my mother. And then on Saturday, we always went to the movie on Saturday, and she gave us a quarter. We could get into the movie. We could have popcorn and a hamburger and soda, 25 cents. Then it went up to 50 cents. Well, anyway, before we went to the movies, she would whip us. And what was that whipping for? General principle. Saturday's whipping was definitely going to be general principle. And we don't know. And she said, we didn't do anything. We'd be watching cartoons Saturday morning, but we were going to be whipped. And she said, general principle. That's for everything you did that I didn't catch you guys doing. My mother was on top of us 24/7. And she'd send us to the movie, feed us lunch, and wipe our faces and all, and then say, I love you, send us off to the movies. Yeah, you want to talk about confusing children. And then one day, my brothers and I, we got tired of being hurt on Saturday when we hadn't done anything. When we did something wrong, we were going to get in trouble. You don't think country children get in trouble? We get in trouble. Don't think you have to be in a city. The country, we can get in lots of trouble. And Jimmy finally learned general principle, and he came in and he spoke for us because he was my big brother. And he came up and said, Mommy, there's no such thing as general principle. And my mother fell out laughing because she always said general principle. So we figured general principle. It was a real general, a real person. His name was Principal, and he was the one who was squealing on what we were getting into. And that's what we found out. She died laughing. She couldn't say that anymore. She really couldn't. And she was on top of us 24/7. I mean, I got in trouble. I'm not going to say I didn't. I left the school grounds. The whipping I got from that was horrible. James, when he had taken the motorcycle and went clean across town, he had no driver's license or anything and got involved in an accident. Thank God they knew the family. James, what my parents didn't do to him. So there are things that children do that frighten the tar out of their parents. And some things children do because they just like doing it. I mean, my younger brother liked lighting the telephone poles, and the police officer would come with Gino and his companion, who was always in trouble. You get these two together and they find matches, telephone poles were going up. And she would whip him for that. So children get in trouble. And sometimes children lie to you. And one thing you have to teach your children is don't lie to me. Because your parents are going to be the ones who are going to defend you to all costs. But if you lie, they're going to let you, all right, now you can deal with your lies. So a lot of the whippings we get when we're young is to get us in line because children don't have any barriers, all right? We just go. If we die, well, then that's our barrier. So parents, when you're little and you start exploring, they have to start keeping you in line as you grow up. And as you grow up and start taking responsibilities, the punishments become less, you see, and then they give you more responsibility wider out. And then it finally comes to the point where you're old enough that you know your actions and you know the repercussions of your actions. And that makes you the responsible adult. Children that don't have any stop clocks growing up like this, they think they can get away with murder, and literally murder. No, I got in trouble, believe you me. And my brothers and I fought tooth and nail. You couldn't, I mean, we were very opinionated. So between being a young parents. They were young parents and with children that fought, trying to get life together. I am sure some of the whippings were because they just had a belly full of us and what we were doing. We were always requesting this. We wanted this. We did this. We did. And sometimes she couldn't find us. One time she found my hair. She had gotten my hair done. I had beautiful bangs in my hair. We were little, and Jimmy had watched on television scissors cut. So Daddy cuts his hair, cuts, and Mommy trims your hair. So let me get the scissors, Sandy, and I'll trim yours. When he got done, my bangs were way up here and at an angle. My mother sat down and cried. I said, "What are you crying for?" She just cried. Jimmy got whipped for it, but these are things children do unless you keep them in line. And if the whippings, keep them in line. And remember, the Bible does state, you spare that rod and you spoil your children, and then you end up with what we have today. So it's evident we needed the punishments. They kept us in line. They made us responsible adults, taking responsibilities for our actions and everything else. So whippings are very much in accord with growing up. Yes, it is, Rodell. My brothers are still alive. One is upstate and one is in state in Texas. Well, I think sometimes parents will beat their children because those children scared the tar out of them. Okay, because I could say I scared the tar out of my mother. I should never listen to Kathy. She always got me in trouble. She got a talking to. I got whipped. There was this vacant house. The family had moved out. And Kathy said, "Let's go play house." And I said, "All right, whose house are we going to use?" She said, "There's an empty one. We can go play house inside." "That house is like a real house, Sandy." I said, "Okay." So the windows were open, so we crawled in. Stupid girls. And we were playing with our dolls and our little tea set. My mother thought I had gone to Kathy's. Kathy's mother thought she had come to my house. We didn't. We were actually in a vacant house. And we heard keys and somebody walk into the house. We froze. We, quiet as a mouse. We got into a cabinet and we crawled way into the back of the the cabinet was here, but it had a side point over here. We crawled way in. We're little girls, and we're holding our breath because somebody's in the house. The guy was checking cabinets. He opened the cabinet where we were, but he didn't look in to see where we were. Thank God. He was just opening and closing the cabinets and all. And he left. We waited. We waited a long time, and then we crawled out, and we left. We took our things with us, and we left. We crawled over the fence. Now, the problem is that Kathy's house was up the block. My house was, the backyard of my house was the backyard a little to the left. My mother happened to be in the back part of the house. She caught us climbing the fence and where we had come from and how we had come out the back door of that abandoned house. When Kathy and I went, so I went inside my home. She went inside her home because the day was ending. My mother said, "What do you think you were doing?" Well, I had no answer. I said, "Kathy and I went to go play house." And my mother said, "Do you know her son rapes little girls? He just came out of an institution." She whipped me. She really, now, the whipping was probably more severe, but I frightened her that her daughter could have been killed. You understand? So the whipping I got, I deserved because it was her fear and my punishment combined. And I was grounded. Kathy's mother just talked to her and it was okay, but I didn't. I couldn't talk to Kathy for a week because I was grounded. And that meant I had to stay in the house for a whole week. So some punishments, as severe as they are, I was involved in a cycle accident and I could have died. My mother, like I said, she's the tyrant in the house. I think the beating that I got for that was because she could see her daughter dead or mangled, and I frightened the tar out of her. So a talking would not have corrected it. And I told her I didn't want to leave the grounds. I told Dennis, and she said, it doesn't matter, you got on the cycle. You should never have gotten on the cycle. So it was my fault. I accept the blames for those things. This is where punishment gets abusive, because you scare the tar, or if you wish to say, the hell out of your parents, and you're going to pay for it. But it taught me responsibilities. It taught me to respect, not to always listen to people. So a lot of that punishment, and although I had it throughout growing up, it's made me the person I am. Am I disappointed with the person I am? No, I'm not. So the Bible is right. You do need to not spare that rod. Children need it. They need it to know that you care. Believe it or not, you know your parents care when they do that. But when they just talk to you and say, it's okay, it's not okay, that's not really caring. That's not taking your responsibilities as a parent to make sure that child knows rules and regulations and can contain. And because of the way I was raised, I know that my freedom goes as far as my nose. And I cannot project my orders onto somebody else. So if you might disagree with it, but I've lived 73 years. I do not have a criminal record. I do not have, as I say, I'm an upright standing citizen. I take my responsibilities. I don't skirt them. I pay for what I do. If I make a mistake, I'm sorry. I'll try to correct it, or show me what I've done wrong so I can correct it. I'm not ashamed of that. So when you think about it, punishments are very important. And if you get a really bad beating, well, know you deserved it for what you did. And it's because you really frightened your parents to the point where they could see losing you, and they didn't want to lose you because they loved you that much to care. Yeah, it's discipline. And no, and I don't call it abuse, Misty, because some of it I really did deserve. I got my regular whippings, but when I did something like that, like the time I almost burnt my mother's home down, oh my gosh, she didn't talk. She didn't whip me, but she did not talk to me, okay, for a very, very long time. And all what I wanted to do was to help her. But I punished my husband, and I punished our boys. We kept them in line, which was important, as angry as they get about it. They're responsible adults. They know their freedom goes as far as their nose. They know they cannot push other people. They know the rules of being a human being. No, no, no. Michelle, I disagree. You whip a child, it's discipline, but other people will say you're abusing your children. No. I will not agree with the women of today. I will not agree. I know I follow the Bible, so if anybody disagrees, you go argue with the Bible. That's where it says I have to do what I have to do. I'm going to do what I have to do. Once my sons are grown, they answer for themselves in what they do. But up to that point, it was Tony's and my responsibility to make sure they grew up. I am doing well, Gina. Thank you. So I know a lot of people disagree. I don't care if you disagree. I think I'm a better person for it. Matter of fact, I didn't even vote until I was in my 30s because I didn't think I was mature enough to make decisions for the government. I needed time in to learn. So I'm old-fashioned. I believe you shouldn't be able to vote till you're 25. This is me, because I think you have more under your belt then. But they say 18. I think young men, they should have the draft back to help the young men. They have a lot of energy dispersed still, so I think the draft should go back into play. I was there with the draft. As much as I hated the draft and I hated the war, the ones who came back are very responsible men, more so than ones that haven't served the country. They have a better understanding of the country and the way it is. But listen, these are my thoughts. They're my beliefs. They're how I feel. You can feel different. Remember, our freedom goes as far as our nose. We have to respect each other. We do not have to agree on the same page. Yeah. So yeah, we have, this is the beauty about America. We can sit there, agree to disagree, but your way is different than mine. But it goes like one woman asked me to babysit her child, and I said, I will, but we have one stipulation: I punish. I give him 3 chances. We get the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. After that, the whipping is coming. And she turned and she said, you can hit him. I said, because if there's a fire or something going on, I need him to listen to me. I don't have time to explain and argue with him. He's going to stay next to me and he's going to listen to me. And she told her son, she can hit you, she can do whatever she wants. You're under her control. So he tested me. First one, I said, that's the Father. And my sons warned him. He said, don't do it. He did it. I said, that's the Son. I said, and then he went 3. I said, that's the Holy Ghost. Next time you do it, you're getting hit. When she came, he was well disciplined. Didn't have to lay a hand on him. Didn't lay a hand on him. He went through his 3 tries, and then he was going to get whipped. The drugs came from Vietnam. Our government actually brought drugs into this country because I'm going to say it, if you like it or not, the black families were building communities. They had the unity of the Father, the Son, the children, well disciplined, and were getting things together. And the government wanted to break this up because they were doing better than the whites. So what did they do? They went and introduced cocaine into it. They thought they could contain it into the community, and it didn't work. And as you can see, we have drugs today. But the CIA was the one that brought the drugs into this country. So you can blame the government for that. So nothing we can do about that. Thank you, Eric. Well, they were in control at that time. Okay, so what can I say? And so we talked about discipline. We talked about that, and I'm enjoying my coffee. I hope you guys are enjoying your coffee as well. I think I'm going to serve carrots with this. But if you're going to have it for breakfast, you could serve it with fruit. You know, get a mixed fruit if you like, or not. If you think you need more and the fish isn't enough, you could serve eggs with it. Or if you want, you could sit there and serve cottage cheese with fruit instead of the eggs. But the thing is that's a lot of protein that you have there. So you should be able to be very versatile. And this smells too good not to eat for breakfast. I know it's good. Now, the destruction of the family is the government thought it was a good thing to let women go, because before, when they taxed people, the only person they could tax was the husband. But once they got both parents working, because to get to the family, you had to go through the man. Yeah, there was no way he's going to let you come into the family because that's his business. Listen to this story. So, by giving women leaving and getting a job, they don't get one, they get 2 people they can tax. Then the children are left alone. Then the government can come in and control the children by the Board of Ed, getting people to raise the children, putting BCW into play. so they control the children. They have separated the children, they have separated the wife, and they have separated the husband. They have literally split the unity of a husband and wife and children, splattered, so they can come in and they control each part. And they tried to do it to my husband and I, and we were united. I stood by him. Whatever he said, I didn't answer. When they tried to give us different attorneys and stuff, I said, I'm not talking to you. I answered to my husband, and the children stayed by me and their father, and they tried to give him attorney. He says, they didn't. They stayed with us. So as hard as they tried to break us up, we stood in a unity, and because the government couldn't get in, they came after us. They came after us for years and years and years. Though they can write paperwork up and say, oh, this is why we're doing it, or we had a report that there was abuse, or this or that. And all of it was fake reports that they had done trying to destroy the family. Yeah, that's why they did it. They did all of it. So if husbands and wives can stay together, and she can keep and control the children and stay in that unity of family, and as hard as it is, don't go outside and work. Let your husband and make it work with his income. You would find the government will pressure you like crazy. They will squeeze you like you have never been squeezed before. But if you're strong in your love and your support of each other and in protecting the children and giving them the best you can, you will find out you have less government controlling your life, and have them go through the husband. If they want to get to anybody, do not separate, and you've got the government pushing back at the government, so you have your freedoms again. It's not going to be easy, I can tell you that. They will come after you because they don't want a family unity, because once they have a family unity, they cannot control the people, and that's the thing. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the destruction of the whole family. And once they can mold those young minds into what they want, they've got it. They get BCW in there. Mommy won't buy the toy for me. BCW will come after the parents. And the mother, because she doesn't have a husband who's standing right there with her, said, no, you're not doing this. You know, the woman will run because she's going to panic. You could take her children. She birthed them. So that's why the man has to be that forefront, if you like it or not. And he's built for it. And mentally, he is capable of doing it because of the way he thinks, because he doesn't think the way women do. We're wired. I mean, we can drag everything into an argument, and he's working on one thing, talking about one thing, and you go in all different directions. Next thing he knows, he's got everything thrown. He said, wait a minute, we're just dealing with one issue here. So he can do that. Women don't. The first thing we do is we will panic. I don't care how liberated you are. Once you have children, there is that bond, and you can't break it. And if you don't understand that bond, get into science. They're finding out cells from the baby are literally stay within us. This is why we know our children, and that bond is always going to be there no matter how angry you are. Oh, get out of the lot, But a mother will know when her child is sick. She will know if her son goes to war and doesn't come home. Those cells in her are an extension of him, and you can't break that string no matter what. Yeah, so there's a lot involved, but the person I am today is because of all that I have been through, and even all the punishments. And I can vouch that those really bad ones I got, I deserved. But at the time, as a child, children don't think they can die, okay? Children take off and say, I am, it's like, I don't know what it is with children, but we can do anything. We can fly. This is our mind. We go there. Children don't have stop clocks. And that's what the punishments are, to make sure. But when you frighten your parents, you're going to get one heck of a beating, and I have to say it, but you deserve it. Like one woman, I saw a video, she actually pulled her children out, told them to put their phones on a stump, and she took the shotgun and she blew every last one of them up. And she said point blank, they are not raising you, I am raising you. Do you understand me? The shit they put there, I am not going to have you listen. She blew all those phones up and she said, I'm not getting you another one. I love that woman. I said, a woman after my own heart, you know? And they were shocked. They said, you can't do that. We'll call BCW. She said, I'll shoot you. They didn't call BCW. She's a good mother. Yeah, invisible. Yeah, we know that. That's why as adults, that's why you don't see children having adults. Adults have children, and you have to know what you're doing. At least you've got experience of what you've done, so you know they're not going to do what you did. But they're very creative, by the way. I'm going to warn you right now. You think you did things, they're going to find things that you haven't done. And you got to stay on top of them. If you don't, you will be surprised. These young girls who have, my son explained what an OnlyFans is, so now I know what an OnlyFans is. They are doing OnlyFans because their parents are probably divorced. Mama's out working, so when I come in from school, mother gives her allowance. She's probably making money now, but when she gets started, she has allowance, she saves up. She buys these lovely lingerie pieces and stuff. And then she proceeds to do an OnlyFans club. Mother doesn't know what she's doing. And she's got extra money. So is she paying taxes on the money? I doubt it very seriously. And that is the government. If the government ever found out, they would be collecting their money. And mama and daddy would find out and tell me a father would be happy of seeing what his daughter would be doing on an OnlyFans. So when you think about it, you think about how they split it up, the family structure up, the government has. This is why we have to get rid of the BCW. You can call it any name you want, child welfare. That has to be gotten rid of. The men have to stay with the families. Women should not be able to just throw him out and think that she's got it. Those children belong to him as much as they belong to her. If you want to spend 50-50 time with him, fine. But you don't have the right to take his children from him because his genes are there just as much. This is how I feel. Remember, these are my personal feelings, not anybody else's. And that's how I perceive it. That I think BCW should be gone. I think government should be out of the family. I think women should learn their place again. The masculinity of man is not a disease. It's a beautiful thing. Men are very protective, and when they see wrong, they will stand up and defend a woman, even if it's not his lady. They defend children, and they're a force. And the government, it's a force the government cannot break once he's there and he's your barrier. Okay, so listen, those are my opinions about things that have happened and how I perceive things. So I'm going to let all of you go. I grew up in a small town. We all ate together. We were all children. Okay, I didn't have that problem. Claire, though she was the maid for the house, she came once a week. She was a second mother to us. We respected her just as much as anybody else. She ate with us. I had no problems then. I have no problems now. But I do have a problem with somebody sitting across the table going, and I can see their mouth open. I can't do that. And I don't want to see the top of the head in slurping. All of that I can't deal with. But if you've got table manners, I don't care if you're purple with pink polka dots. I don't mind sharing, you know? Okay. Great. Thank you, David. Yeah, all of you. I want you to take care and listen. You can disagree. Remember, in this world, your freedoms go as far as your nose. You can agree to disagree. What works for the goose does not always work for the gander. I was taught that as well. I tell you, I've got a lot of learning I learned. So listen, Take care. I want all of you have a great day. I'm going to clean the living room today. Ugh. When I get to this kitchen, I will not be cooking. I will tell you point blank, you will not see me because I'm going to spend 13 hours scrubbing from top to bottom. The kitchen is a filthy, greasy place to work. So take care. Bye-bye.